Hello everyone and welcome to Long's Toys. Today we're taking a look at the DX RyusoulKen, which is the main sword weapon that all of the Ryusoulgers use, Ken being the Japanese word for sword. And it does come with the Tsuyo Ryusoul, which is a tongue twister. I'm sure I'll say that wrong before the end of the review. Featured here very prominently on the front and also here on the top. You can see both the soul mode and the night mode, which is pretty cool. So of course we'll take a look at that. Again, really nice picture of Ryusoulger here, featured prominently on the front of the box. Again, there's Ryusoulger featured on the side. And when they use the gray Ryusouls, that's when they get these armor pieces on their arm, which look fantastic. I absolutely love that. On the bottom, you have another really awesome group shot. Very, very cool there. And then again, we saw the top already. Spinning it around to the back shows you how to put the Ryusouls into the mouth of the dino head. And then there's a whole lot of chomping going on, but we'll get there. So very cool, and it gives them these armor pieces, these giant shoulder armors, which look really neat. So I like that quite a bit. This time around, 2 AAA batteries are needed, so you'll have to supply those on your own. But that's pretty much it for the packaging, so let's go ahead, get this guy out of the box, and we'll take a closer look. Alright, so here you go. This is everything you get in the box. We'll take a quick look at the Tsuyo Ryusoul. Really cool. I like this one quite a bit, and I want to bring in the red Ryusoul just for a comparison here. You can see that the sword is completely different. They're not just the same mold repainted, and the helmet is different as well. This one kind of has more of a generic helmet. The torso is also different. It doesn't have that kind of corkscrew type pattern, which I think is really neat. Another sticker here on the shield, and then when we close these up, you can see that the crest up here is obviously different because it's the sword on the other side. The teeth are different. The kind of snout of the dinosaur all different. So I think that's really cool. I appreciate that quite a bit. Flip those both open. Taking a look on the back, you can see he's got a very generic helmet. So you could technically put this in the mecha, but it would just give him a very kind of boring, bland, light gray generic helmet. But it's still possible. And also you can get a look at how different the rail pieces are. You can see this is B001 and this is B023. So just to get an idea of how those are different. But very cool. Very excited to get another Ryusoul, and I believe this one is exclusive to the sword. So if you want, I don't know if there'll be a candy toy of this one later on, and I'm not really sure what's going to be the difference between deluxe and candy toy and gashapon. I would assume paint, probably lack of paint, but we'll see, time will tell. But in the meantime, this guy's pretty cool. Gonna go ahead and put him off to the side for a minute, and we'll take a close-up look at this sword. So the sword is primarily this giant dino head, which I have to say does look really good. You have a very tiny blade for the sword. Now, Japanese roleplay swords are usually pretty dinky, but this one I feel like is especially dinky. But it does light up. It has lights, LEDs throughout this area here. Otherwise, some pretty nice red paint. Pretty cool there. Again, I love the silver and the gold. Looks really sharp. Here is the on and off switch. This is the Ryusoul eject button, and you'll see what I mean. This is where you would put the 2 AAA batteries. You just put something in there to kind of push the pin down, slide that off, and put your 2 batteries in there. Trigger button there. Overall, looking pretty good. Go ahead and turn it on. So I'll turn it off so you can see that again. The sword does light up. Where's the on-off switch? There we go. So it says its name, and you can see that there's 3 LEDs. They all lit up. Very cool. If you go ahead and just do the trigger, you alternate between 2 kind of generic sword slashing sounds. So nothing too exciting there. If you want to open the mouth, you have to hold this red button down here. So hold that down. And I think that's really cool. You can see that the eye changed. And basically how this works, the eye is still down in here, So this goes down, and you can see that the red eye goes over top of it. But that's still a cool eye nonetheless. So you can open that and close that, and it kind of just makes that chomping sound, which is pretty cool. If we go ahead, open that up, and I'm going to start with red just to show you how this works and how the reader works. It has a channel very similar to the changer that you go ahead and slide this in. So until you close it, no sounds from the trigger. So right away it says red. You're back to your generic slash sound if you hold the trigger down. So it has kind of a phrase specific to red there. So that's pretty cool. I like that. Otherwise, you have the generic sound. Now if you open this and close this one time, not really much happens, but if you do it twice, so it enters into this kind of standby mode. And you have to keep opening and closing it. So I don't know if you heard everything that was going on there, but you open it twice. You open it, close it, and it goes into that standby mode. Then you keep opening and closing it, and he keeps saying like Ryu, sold, 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 and then he like gets louder and louder each time. And I can't help but think of Thundercats when he's like Thundercats, thunder, 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 Thundercats. Anyway, it's neat. So that's how that works. Now let me do it again just to show off. Enters the standby mode, and see if we can hear the actual phrases. Now the other thing you can do is you can open and close it once the standby thing starts, and just kind of go crazy with it and leave it in the open position. Now for red, the sound effect, whether it's open or closed, is not different. You'll notice when we get there that the light gray ones, I think because these are power-ups, they do have more sounds than just the normal, like the main Ryu souls. And I'll show you what I mean in just a moment. So when you want to eject it, you hit that button on the side, and it really does kind of spit it out. Even just to show you that it's not just gravity. So I think that's kind of fun that it really does kind of shoot those out of there. So I'm going to go ahead and pop in the Suyo Soul and close it. So it says the name of it. So you can hear right off the bat the generic sword sound has been replaced by one that is specific to this soul. So already we're getting more functionality with these light gray power-up souls than with one of the main souls. If I hold the button down, so again there's a sound effect that is specific to the soul. So then if I go ahead and open this, so you can see that's a completely different sound than the Ken Bone, which it was doing for everything else. So we'll try this again. So that time when I did it and left it open, I got the Ken bone with the ooh la la, which is specific to the soul. So you get kind of a new flavor on the Ken bone generic attack sound. But then when I did it closed, I got a different attack sound. So these light gray ones, these kind of power-up ones, I think are going to be the ones that end up giving us the most functionality out of the sword here. And then, of course, we got to check out the light orange promotional soul. So I think that's cool. It says Kishiryu Sentai Ryusoulger. Generic attack sound, hold the button down. So there we go. Got a cool sound there. So we get the Ken bone, which is the generic one, just like with red. So same sound there as well. So unfortunately, this one functions more like red than it does the light gray soul. So this is not really a power-up one. And it kind of makes sense. I forgot to show this off in the charger video, but these guys are from the same mold. You can see the sword, the helmet, and everything is the same. So this is definitely more like one of these than it is like one of the power-up souls. And then, of course, we have to try this in the changer. So it just says Ryusoul, kind of a generic sound effect. So I kind of like that weird robotic sound there, but I'm guessing that that's another kind of generic sound, and I'm wondering if all the light gray ones are going to have that same kind of sound effect. So it kind of sounds like, whoops. Just enjoy that music a little bit. While it sounds like these are going to really shine in the sword, they're not really going to do much in the changer. So that's kind of a bummer, but I think these things are really going to come to life in the sword and give us a lot of good sounds over there. I think the RyusoulKen is a lot of fun. While it might not have a ton of different sounds for each soul, it does read each of them and have a unique name for each. And it does have a ton of sounds for this kind of light gray power-up soul. And I'm really excited to see, as we collect more Ryusouls throughout the line, the correlations, see if I'm right about all the kind of what I'm calling power-up souls, if they're the ones that are really going to come to life in this sword. Seeing as how they don't really do much in the changer, I think it kind of makes sense that they're going to be using them in conjunction with the sword throughout the show to get different power-ups in different battle situations and things like that. So I think the sword is definitely going to be a necessity if you're collecting this line and collecting all the different Ryusouls, because you're going to get the most playability out of the sword rather than the changer. And I think most of the sound effects are going to be coming from this guy. Plus, it just looks neat. I think it's cool. I wish the blade was a little bit longer, but that's kind of a complaint I have with every roleplay sword weapon from Japan. No sense getting upset about it at this point. I do appreciate the lights in addition to the sounds. I think that's really cool as well. Having to chomp the thing up and down like 5 times every time you want to get a new sound out of it is a little obnoxious, but I think kids are going to love that part of it. And I think I'll just get used to it and it won't be that big a deal after a while. So let me know what you guys think in the comments below. Please like, share, comment, subscribe. Hope you guys enjoyed the video. And as always, thanks so much for watching.